DJI Mavic 4 coming in 2024. Got that coming up next. Bill, the drone reviewer here. If you like the content of this video or anything on my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night, I hosted Rotor Talk Live and was joined by Mr. Marcus Crawford and very special guest, Tom Dowling. We spent the better part of the evening discussing everything that we know about the DJI Mavic 4. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety. You know, one of the things I want to spend some time in talking about is purportedly what we see some images of the Mavic 4. And I want to spend a few minutes looking at the image itself because it can be, it's a little tricky. Okay. It's a little tricky. So you have to look at some things here. Now you have to realize right here, you can see my cursor. That's a Mavic 3 right down there. And then there's a couple of Sonys on either side of it. And this is supposedly purportedly the Mavic 4. Now it's upside down. That's one thing. All right. And hey, Kestelou does a great article and he explains that really well. And, you know, until you really take a good close look at it, you're really confused by what all this is. Okay. Now, you know, one of the things that's been noted right here up front is, you know, whereas, you know, you see right here on the Mavic 3, of course, the front sensors, you know, even though this is upside down, you're not seeing, you can't really see because, you know, this lens may be covering it, but you're not seeing like a front obstacle avoidance like you see on the Mavic 3 right here, for one thing. Okay. And then this gimbal is very different from any other DJI gimbal I think I've ever seen. It's circular, it's round, you know, and there's just a whole host of speculation that can go on about this, you know, from, you know, is this going to come out in 2024 to what kind of a price it's going to be, to what kind of a camera it's going to be. But one of the things I can tell you is this, okay? Number one, this camera is going to eclipse anything that DJI has done consumer-wise up until this point, okay? It's going to be the Mac Daddy for consumer drones as far as the camera is concerned. Of that, I have absolutely no doubt. 2024, it may be possible, okay? You know, there's some rumblings that they've taken this out of the NDA bill. I've heard some things about that, but who knows? But be that as it may,
51 drones reported that today.
Yeah, it was taken, as far as I know, it was taken out.
It was taken out. So, I mean, cautiously optimistic about that.
But Bill, but before we move past that, because this is important.
Sure.
The standalone bill did pass the House. So just
right.
Right. It has to get through the Congress, and in all likelihood, there's going to be a reconciliation. So I'm holding out hope this is not going to take place for the 2025, because really what it comes down to is giving the FCC authority, okay, to ban it, to put it on that restricted list. And if it doesn't come out before the end of the year and it comes out early next year, it really doesn't take effect right away. So hopefully we get this drone.
Yeah, once it's printed in the federal registers when it takes effect.
Yeah.
However, just because Bill, I'm probably going down a rabbit hole. You probably don't want me to go.
Go ahead. No, that's fine.
But who knows the final analysis of the bill? What it could be? Is it something that would be just moved in a little bit at a time so that you don't we don't lose everything instantly? You know, certain products or certain things. The other thing that could happen, like they talked about with TikTok, is they said, hey, TikTok, if you sell out to an American entity or whatever. With this, what if they come up with some kind of a solution that says, hey, we're 100% taking control of all that data from your drone. Now, we could argue that we have that already. However, you know, Congress would need some kind of guarantees. So that kind of thing is still possible too. So
there's some compromises that could happen with it.
Could happen.
Yeah,
you know, and one of the things that I've heard and I've seen in some other drone articles is that some of the ownership be invested in the United States. Okay. that Congress may look favorably upon that, and or pushing them to go ahead and finally build a plant over here or build plants over here and employ United States people to employees. So I mean, there's all kind of possibilities here.
Well, Bill, what I want to see come out of it is something very simple. I think in an approach is a security standard applicable to everyone.
Yes,
that's it right there. Boom.
That's excellent.
Okay, because I don't care who's got my data; it's at risk. Look, my pharmaceutical company breached my data, and they're solely in the U.S. So give me a goddamn break and protect me from all of them. Okay, whether it's foreign or domestic enemies, protect me from all of them.
Okay, so now I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit too. So I totally agree with what you said. What bothers me about situations like you're talking about, we just had that big security breach, the data broker that they hacked into, and trust me, they've got all of our social security numbers, all that. There's never any consequence for those companies. All they do is they come back and say, "Oh, okay, here's 2 years of free credit monitoring or whatever." Hey,
what are they paying for that? Pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, that's right. When one of those companies gets broken into and they haven't protected our data, they need to be fined up the wazoo, and they need to pay up.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. I agree because there's no incentive really for them to protect us.
They don't care. Yeah, they don't care.
Bill, when I was working, okay, I had an entire cybersecurity team in my bureau because we were a Bureau of Technology Development and Systems for the agency. And there were no less than, on average, 1,200 attempts to hack us on a daily basis. I'm not making that shit up. That's real data, okay? And, if you don't have your ducks in a row, like, well, God forbid they were able to take down the dispatch system in New York City, the 911 system, okay? That's fielding over 1.5 million EMS calls a day, close to 3 million police calls, and another million fire and non-fire emergencies. Just imagine the devastation there. If you don't have your ducks in a row, you're subjecting us to a disaster. And that's what all U.S. companies are doing today. Like you said, they're not. What's the financial incentive for them to staff their shops the way they should and protect that data downstream? Protect it downstream.
They don't care.
Yeah. No.
Hey, we went down a big rabbit hole, Bill. We're going to hand the show back to you.
Thank you.
Where's my Mavic?
You guys brought up some good points and had some great chat here as well too. Now, Multi-Rotors here said maybe the obstacle avoidance is built into the camera itself, which is why you don't.
Much like the Neo.
Yeah.
Okay. Just like, because that's something that we do get from DJI. Whatever came before is enhanced and brought forward. Okay. And we complain about half of it, but look at how the Neo is able to operate in a follow, okay? And you zigzag this way, it zigzags along that same path. So I think there will be obstacle avoidance in there. And look, I believe it'll be much more enhanced, and I still believe there's going to be a slew of sensors external to that solution.
I agree, Tom. I agree 100%. And one of the other things is, because people are looking at it upside down, you don't really, you look at a drone upside down, it's like looking at a dog upside down, okay? They don't look very, very doggish until they're up on their paws, okay? And it's the same thing here, looking at this upside down. So I want to kind of caution people on that. But one of the other things is, okay, there's a reason that they made this gimbal round, okay, in the camera area round. The possibility exists, like this may be, you may be getting, more than you might get a 360 view from something like this. You don't know, or a 180 type of view. That I'm just throwing that out there. But one of the things I think you can count on is this is going to be more expensive than the Mavic 3 Pro or the Mavic 3. Okay, that's
possibly. But now I'm going to say that shape is going to make this drone more aerodynamic.
That's a good point.
That's something we don't think about. Okay, I think you're going to find a drone. I'm guessing here, but I think one of the enhanced features, besides a huge dynamic range, which means better low light, I think you're going to have more seamless zoom across the range, because that's something we're all looking for, right? I hate having to switch from one to the other, especially when you're filming. You want to just be able to slide through that range of zoom, almost like a super zoom, right? On a digital camera. But I think what we might also get from this is increased speed. Okay,
you're right, Tom.
I want a drone that I can fly. I'm sorry, I want a drone I can fly at 80 miles an hour. I'm still under the FAA 99, mile an hour, but I want to be able to chase a car. Okay. Across the desert floor. I want to be able to do those things. And I think at the prosumer, and we're really talking about really at a more of a pro level, that's something you really need today.
I agree. And, one of the things that I want to say as far as the performance of this drone is concerned, okay, Tom brings up a good point here, is I think you're going to see something that will kind of bridge the gap here between, the Mavic line and the Inspire line, okay, where, the Inspire is really, very professional and the Mavic is consumer. I think you can probably safely use the label prosumer on this. And I think the other things is, I think, and this is just a gut, and this is just based. See, there's no rhyme or reason with DJI, because I did a study several years ago on release dates and cycles and everything with all their drones, and there's no rhyme or reason. I did a nice big spreadsheet, and there was no rhyme or reason. Dates, times, everything. Okay, nothing had any rhyme or reason. But one of the things I think because of everything all told with legislation and everything, I do think they'll try to squeeze that in this calendar year in 2024. Okay. It may be around Christmas time or so, but I kind of think, now that we've gotten our first verified look at this, I think we'll see that too. And one of the things, I think we'll see a better battery performance out of something like this. I can just about guarantee you that. Whether they're going to go to a new type of, OcuSync system with this, that kind of remains to be seen. But I would also guess that they're going to have another RC Pro 2, RC Pro 3 type of setup with this, because that proved to be, the original proved to be very popular. The replacement approved, is very popular. I think they may be upping the ante with something like this. And they may, who knows, they may even go along the lines of that wonderful controller that the Inspire has, that they're coming out with an upgrade to
a more feature-rich controller.
Exactly.
But you know what? You said something earlier. You think it's going to be more expensive. And I'm gonna say at this point, I think maybe not. Because first off, how do you get a Mavic 3 buyer to reach in their pocket for a Mavic 4 if it's much more expensive? But if it's feature rich and really from a spec point outdoes what you currently have at the same price, you're more likely to pull the trigger. And I agree with you. I think it's going to be shoehorned in before the end of the year, because why risk waiting too long to get this out and have something like that House bill pass in the Congress, in the Senate, and then not being able to release this to their largest market in the world, the United States. So that's why I think this will be shoehorned in before the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%. And I also think too, when you start to see things like this, we're not far behind, as we discussed last week, with the Air 3S and seeing it out on the FCC database and looking at the label. Okay. And I'm going to say that release is imminent. You're probably going to see that first plus week of October, some kind of, go ahead, Marcus.
When will we see the release of that new Neo drone, Bill?
Ah, that's a good.
And that's we're all through part 107. Make sure you buy your module because you need to put a remote ID module on it.
There you go.
That's if I plan on using it commercially, Marcus. Okay. If you don't look, and who says I'll use it commercially outdoors?
Right. Yeah.
I can still use it commercially indoors without RID.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
So just give me a firmware update on that damn camera so I can use it indoors with some decent imagery.
I keep looking at all the review videos, and they're hiding those remote ID modules very, very well in their review videos.
They must be. Yes, they're
well,
they all have waivers. You don't know. They could all have waivers in place, Marcus.
I'm hoping, a couple of things here as we approach the end of the year. The launch for the Action 5 Pro went well. All right. The Neo, I'm going to say not so much. All right. For us here in North America. The Air 3S, I think they're going to have it in stock. And I think, I'm just pure speculation on my part here is I think they'll be ready. I think they'll be ready to go. I don't think you'll have a 3-week, 4-week gap, crossing exactly, Tom, crossing fingers here, hoping that will happen. And I think the same thing for the Mavic 4 Pro. I think you'll probably see something, mid-November-ish as far as like an FCC release is concerned. And that may come out like first week or so of December, just in time for Christmas. So if you have piggy banks, you better be stuffing them full of some cash because it's going to come. It's going to come fast and furious by the end of the year this year. Question of the day. What did you think of DJI Mavic 4 coming in 2024? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.